I'm going to be on vacation. It better be with my wife, right? Okay. And we were walking down the street, and there was these guys walking by, and one guy said, "Well, you know, it's like my father always said, when all else fails, read the manual." And I thought, wow, when all else fails, read the manual. What a great idea for a song. So the last time I was here, I was still talking about it. Well, now it's done, recorded, and released. The only thing left to do is to play it for you. Just a piece of furniture, as simple as could be. I put it together in a minute or two, just leave it all to me. But the hinges didn't line up, and the legs they wouldn't stand, and a half a dozen pieces were left over in my hand. Then my wife came in to see what was wrong. She gave me the eye. She said, "I just have one question. Could you please tell me why? Why didn't you read the manual instead of wasting your time? Read the manual and everything will work out fine." I was working late one day, sitting at a brand new machine. Buttons, levers, switches, and dials, more than I'd ever seen. I pressed this and I pushed that, and it made an awful sound. Smoke was rising, and not surprising, the whole damn thing shut down. Then the boss came in to see what was wrong. He gave me the eye. He said, "I just have one question. Could you please tell me why? Why didn't you read the manual instead of wasting my time? Read the manual, get that damn thing back online." Sometimes it seems like a good idea to go your own way, but if it all goes south, hope you didn't throw that thing away. So truth be told, life will happen to you. You'll be bouncing like a pinball, not knowing what to do. If objects in the mirror are closer than they appear, it's time to clean the slate, it's time to shift the gears. So if you're at loose ends, feeling a little scared, it's good to have a plan. Oh, it's good to be prepared. Go out and find a manual, one that makes sense to you. Read that manual and follow it through and through. Read that manual, study it line by line. Read that manual and everything will work out fine. Read the manual. Read the manual and everything will work out fine.
I want to boost the bass on your guitar a little.
Okay. That's good. Neil Okerson here, the fill-in sound man tonight. Thank you, Neil. Okay, that's good.
Better?
It's better, if you say so. Neil is also an excellent songwriter.
Yes.
You ever get him in the corner sometime and make him play Beautiful World for you?
Yeah.
You'll be glad you did. Okay, so okay. I remembered this afternoon. I felt bad that it took me so long to remember it, but tomorrow's Father's Day. I was very fortunate to be at my father's side when he passed, and after being such a thorn in his side as a teenager, we were good. I was all grown up and we were good. But the things that he tried to tell me, you know, that I wouldn't listen to when I was young, you know, I appreciate them now. But he was a big fan of Dixieland jazz. You know, I mean, he would tell me that, you know, he wanted me to listen to it. You know, Jelly Roll Morton and Sidney Bechet and Bix Beiderbecke and Louis Armstrong, all these people. And I wanted Beatles, Dylan's, and the Stones. Don't give me anything else, right? So I didn't appreciate it. But he would tell me, please, son, listen, this is the truth. And you could hear the capital T when he said it. But that's, you know, so that's part of the song. It took me a while to come up with this after he passed, but somebody asked me one time, what kind of name is Pospisil? And I said, oh, it's the name my father gave me. And I thought, there's the title of the song right there. So for Father's Day, I'm going to play this for my dad. The name my father gave me was handed down with care, because he got it from his father, and his father brought it here. Carried it his whole life, he wore it till he died. The name my father gave me, he always carried it with pride. Far back as I remember, he was always standing there, and he stood so high above me, straight up in the air. But even when I was taller, we didn't always see eye to eye. There were many times I left him to shake his head and wonder why. Now he told me about Jelly, he told me about Bix, Satchmo, Django, Sidney, and the rest. At the time I wouldn't listen, that's the way it is with youth. All he ever wanted was for me to hear the truth. And love sometimes went unspoken, but you could feel it just the same. That's what I remember when I think about his name. Now there's one thing I can tell you that I know to be true. You don't know how a father feels till you're a father too. Then it all makes sense somehow. Then you understand why a father does what he does the best way that he can. And love sometimes goes unspoken, but you could feel it just the same. Now I find I'm asking, can I live up to his name? The name my father gave me was handed down with care, because he got it from his father, and his father brought it here. He carried it his whole life, wore it till he died. The name my father gave me, now I will carry it with pride. Now the last time that I saw him, he was looking pretty thin. He asked about a friend of mine, what shape was he in? We shared a joke or two, the curtain it was drawn. I looked down for a moment, and when I looked up, he was gone. Sometimes think he's with me, I can feel his guiding hand. He now knows more than I ever will about what it means to be a man. I think about my children, the lives that they will make. There's only one thing I can give them. There's only one thing that they'll take. And that's the name my father gave me. Now I will hand it down with care, because I got it from my father, and his father brought it here. I'll carry it my whole life. I'll wear it till I die. The name my father gave me, that's what I'll be remembered by. The name my father gave me, as the saints go marching by. Let me tell you about my first wireless plan. I mean, I wrote a song, an ode to my first wireless plan. I know some of you might think that that's a little ridiculous. But let me explain. Way back when, before, you're thinking of the modern day wireless plans. No. I'm thinking about the wireless plan I got when I was 10 years old. It was called the transistor radio. Yeah, it was wireless, it was free, except for the batteries, and it had one little tiny earphone, and it transformed my life, because you could listen to it in the classroom with your head tilted away from the teacher, so she didn't know you were listening to the baseball games, which used to be on during the daytime, or your parents would thought you were sleeping at night, but you got it underneath your pillow and you got the earplug in and you're listening to rock and roll and all that other good stuff. So that my first transistor radio transformed my life, and I'm going to tell you all about it right now because it has a lot to do with the year that I got it. Now, I gave you all the clues you need, right? I was 10 years old. Look at me. Long time ago. Way back when, much to my surprise, I got a gift, really gave me a lift, opened up my ears and eyes. I opened the box, I put the batteries in, sat down on the floor with my first transistor radio, and it was 1964. Okay, now you know. Well, I touched that dial and it made me smile. Music from across the land. There was rock and roll, pop and soul, the world in the palm of my hand. I had ABC, FCA, 10 wins and more. On my first transistor radio back in 1964. The Dave Clark 5 and the Beatles, Searchers, Pins and Needles, animals in my dreams. Do-I-diddy and a woman who was pretty, drifters and supremes. Frankie Valli and Hello Dolly, Beach Boys and Rolling Stones. The Kings had the beat, there was dancing in the street, and just one tiny earphone. Oh, the years flew by in the blink of an eye, so sad to see them go. The world became wide, I drifted with the tide, and the music had to grow. But from time to time I remember what was deep down at the core. And my first transistor radio in 19 CDs, streaming is the game. But when I'm cruising with my smart device, I got a playlist from long before. It's called First Transistor Radio /1964. Oh, you never forget your first. You never forget your first. You never forget your first transistor radio from 1964. First transistor radio. 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 1964. Thank you. I'm going to play a song. I didn't play this next song. I didn't play this afternoon. This is a little unusual song. You might be able to pick up on it. It's a song about a friend of mine. Listening to the evidence, it's hard to resist. The conclusion they tell me is that you don't exist. A figment of the mind, calculated as a colossal work of fiction, without an ounce of fact. If I were to take them at their word, with all they say about you, please tell me, for all this time then, who have I been talking to? We know all about the weather and the stars in the sky. If someone has a question, we know the how and why. We are Alpha and Omega. We have no need of prayers. We're all heading to the table to fight over the chairs. But if I were to take them at their word, with all they say about you, please tell me for all this time, who have I been talking to? Silent, listen to the wind, a murmur, a whisper, a calmness within, like the water held back by the dam. Be still, know that I am. We whimper, we cry out, subject to confusion. At times we're playing the town. But through my times of trial, when I have talked to you, I believe our conversations are what pulled me through. So if I were to take them at their word, with all they say about you, please tell me for all this time, please tell me for all this time, please tell me for all this time, then who have I been talking to? Thank you. I want to play you a song now from my very first album, which unfortunately I don't have here. That's out of print right now. I'm trying to remedy that, but this was back in the 90s, 1990. This was like I can't use the word hit, minor sensation on college radio at the time. You know, it was, no, I don't even think I heard about it then. But it may seem quaint by today's standards, but this is before Google Earth and all that stuff. They launched this thing into space, and I said, I don't think this is all they claim it to be. And anyway, I'm going to tell you about it because the problem still exists today, and it's even worse because they've multiplied up there. I don't know what they're doing. I read it in the papers, heard it on the radio, seen it on the TV, so I guess that makes it so. Here comes one more nightmare, one more dose of trouble, hanging high above our heads, a telescope named Hubble. Well, there's an eye in the sky, and they say it's looking out. But I've got my suspicions, friend. Yes, I got my doubts. They say they want to look deep into space from high above the ground. Oh, but deep in my heart I know that the damn thing's pointing down. Oh, now they'll be keeping tabs on everyone alive. They'll know if you run stop signs or drive over 55. And now they're gonna follow you from the cradle to the grave. They'll know if you're going bald or if you need a shave, 'cause there's an eye in the sky, and they say it's looking out. But I've got my suspicions, friends, yes, I've got my doubts. They say they want to look deep into space from high above the ground. But deep in my heart I know that the damn thing's pointing down. Oh, just think of all the changes that now are on the way. They'll be watching Yankee Stadium and doing the play-by-play. They'll be counting every cavity in each and every tooth. All you golfers and you fishermen, you're gonna have to tell the truth, 'cause there's an eye in the sky, and they say it's looking out. But I've got my suspicions, friends, oh yes, I've got my doubts. They say they want to look deep into space from high above the ground. But deep in my heart I know that the damn thing's pointing down. Well, they'll see you if you're sleeping, they'll know if you're awake, and they'll know who you're sleeping with and what size shoes they take. Interesting language that was. Well, my friends all think I'm crazy. They say I'm paranoid. They say it's just for research to peer into the void. Well, I am just a simple man, but I think it's quite a stunt. And they're never sleeping, always peeping, cosmic Alan Funt. Yes, that eye in the sky, well they say it's looking out, but I've got my suspicions, friends, oh yes, I've got my doubts. They say the water look deep into space from high above the ground. Deep in my heart I know that the damn thing's pointing down. Now I wrote this a long, long time ago, but more than 30 years ago, you know, and things have changed since then. I came up with different endings for this. I mean, at first I ended the song, you know, and then they said, oh, it doesn't work. It's all blurry. We're going to have to fix it. And I thought, yeah, right. So I wrote a new ending saying, yeah, if you believe that, I got to bridge this up. And then they said, no, we fixed it now and it's doing great. So I had to write another ending. But now more than 30 years have passed. So I had to write another ending. So Hubble's had its day now. It's really obsolete. We got the James Webb scope now, and that really can't be beat. They say they're watching every day the universe go round. But rest assured, just take my word, there's two eyes pointing down. There's two eyes in the sky, and they say they're looking out. But I've got my suspicions, friends, yes, I got my doubts. They say they want to look deep into space from high above the ground. Deep in my heart I know that the damn thing's pointing down. I really wanted to end it there. I really wanted that to be the end, but no. They just won't stop. They won't quit. They won't leave us alone. Yeah, so I thought that I'd be finished. But no, we're not done yet. Because I found out, without a doubt, there's a brand new cosmic thread. And it only goes to prove the truth to this here tune. Because Artemis 2 is peeking at you from the backside of the moon. There's an eye in the sky, and they say it's looking out. But I've got my suspicions, friends, oh yes, I got my doubts. They say they want to look deep into space from high above the ground. Deep in my heart I know that the damn thing's pointing down. Deep in my heart I know the damn thing's pointing down. Deep in my heart I know Hubble rhymes with trouble. Deep in your heart, you know it's pointing down. Straight down. Okay, trivia question. Does anybody remember who Alan Funt was?
Of course.
Okay, good. Sometimes I play that for a crowd of young people. They go, huh? Candid camera. It's fun to look at yourself. It's a tonic, trident. All those things stick in my head. How am I doing on time, Barry?
15 minutes.
Oh. You know what's really a tough thing to figure out? It's just this whole thing about middle age. What is middle age? Can anybody really tell me what middle age is?
You're getting there.
Well, hear me out. I mean, in order to know when you're in the middle of something, right, you have to know the beginning and the end. Now, right now, Barry, if you could verify this, I'm in the middle of my set, right? We know there's a beginning. You know that in 17 minutes it's going to end. I'm in the middle of the set. Middle age. Well, we know the beginning, but we don't know the end. So how do you know when you're in the... Okay, well, here's another way to look at it. Everything in between the beginning and the end is middle. And the older I get, the more I like that idea. So right now I'm in maybe, let's say, advanced middle age. Right? There's more behind the horse than there is in front. But you say, okay, well there's a point to all this. Now the kingdom in its wild youth was a sight to see, and that's a truth. Not a dragon stood before it that could not be watered down. Knights and knaves of every sort would fight for honor or for sport, and the time rested so lightly on the head that wore the crown. But now the tournament has gone to bust, and every knight shows signs of rust, and these castle walls, they crumble in stages. Welcome to the Middle Ages. Now I'm a man who was a boy till I traded up to faster toys, and I often toast my younger days. They were never watered down. These days I have are close at hand, and I fill them but don't understand why these eyes of mine look all the time for what's lost and can't be found. Youth has punched the clock and wants his pay, and every hair shows signs of gray. In this book of mine, I've filled more than half the pages. Welcome to the Middle Ages. Yes, the story's more than halfway told, and if it's too loud, then you're too old. Oh, misspent youth should have saved some of those wages. You could have used them now in the Middle Ages. But the game's still on and you must compete. Your heart might ache, but at least it beats. Story's more than halfway told, and if it's too loud, then you're too old. And if it's too loud, then you're too old. You gotta warm that thing up, you know. It's called like a car on a winter's day. You gotta I did bring this mandolin, though. I got to play at least one song on that mandolin.
Yeah.
This is another song from my new album, and the new album is called Hidden Motifs. What is a hidden motif, you might ask? Well, it's sort of like a conspiracy theory, a cheap form of entertainment. But this song is just a simple little song, a song that I just wrote about a trip to Pennsylvania and West Virginia that me and my wife took a couple of years back. Because I got good advice from another well-established songwriter years ago that whenever you put out a recording, your significant other should be able to see themselves in at least one song. Otherwise, you're going to catch flack for it. So she likes this one. This is called Road Trip. Come my way, so be sure you bring a raincoat and an extra pair of shoes. One bag might not be big enough, bring 2 or 3 to hold your stuff. Me, I travel light, it's just the way I choose. We can't wait until July, it'll be too hot, we're sure to fry. Let's hit the road sometime in May. Traveling west, that's the plan, and a little bit south if we can. Just how far can we go today? We'll share the highways, I'll drive the streets. Every few hours we'll change seats, then stop and rest every once in a while. If there's someplace else you'd rather see, we could change the route. That's fine by me, just rolling on mile after mile. Every town's got another name, and the people are different but still the same. We enjoy the company we keep. We can stay in a cabin or a double wide, long as when we get inside, we can find a clean place to sleep. You know I can get tired driving around, spending just one night in each new town. So this time let's stay for 2 or 3. Stay a while, just leave it all on the floor in one big pile. Let's go walking through town, just you and me. There's an old farmhouse just over there. Go get your camera, I'll wait here. Clouds are moving and the lights just right. A few days from now, we'll be gone down the road. Farther on, a new river, new trails, new sights. Sets me free as long as there's good company. There's no better than you and me. I'm gonna do Jenny and Coffee.
Coffee?
Oh, Jenny and Tired?
Yeah, running.
Jenny and Tired. Okay, Jenny and Tired.
Yeah.
Okay. Barry has final say, you know. It's in my contract. He's like Colonel Tom Parker, you know. No, nobody's as bad as that man was. No. Okay. So, I did play a song for my father, and Barry won't let me go unless I play the song for my mother. Just in short, my mother she lived to be 101 years old, and she was really the best example of a human being I could ever think of. I mean, I know it's hard for me to be objective, but that really is true. She taught me how to live. She taught me how to treat people. The lessons that she imparted to me, not just by what she said, but by what she did, just made a lasting impression on me that I'll never forget. And she liked to dance. And really her name was Jane, but when she was a kid, they called her Jenny. So I had the privilege to take care of her the last 12 years of her life. And even when she couldn't remember who I was anymore, she would still smile and say, "Have we known each other a long time?" And I would say, "Yeah, all my life." So she always looked, no matter what happened to her, the trials and tribulations she had, she was always positive, always kept her faith. So I'm going to tell you her story. Now, she lived to be 101, but that doesn't mean it's that long a song. You won't be years older when you leave here. So this is Jenny is Dancing. That would have been a problem. Sort of like not tuning right. Jenny's an extraordinary girl, living here in the ordinary world. Whenever she gets the chance, she likes to dance. So get ready, everyone. Get set, 'cause here she comes. Jenny is dancing once again. She's dancing on the sidewalk with her sisters and her friends. She took the chalk, drew the numbers 1 through 10. Jenny's dancing once again. She's growing up and life is hard. There's no more time for playing in the yard. She leaves school when her father dies. Jenny cries. She gets a job, brings home her pay, so her mother and her sisters still have a place to stay. But when the weekend comes around, she heads downtown. She'll shake off those working blues. She's put on her dancing shoes. Now Jenny, she's dancing once again. She's dancing at the church hall with her sisters and her friends. If she's ever had a better time, she can't remember when. Jenny's dancing once again. All the fellas wait their chance to ask Jenny for a dance, until by and by she finds the right guy. Now Jenny, she's found romance. And so Jenny is dancing once again. She's dancing at her wedding with her family and her friends. She's dancing with her husband. Her heart was his to win. Jenny's dancing once again. A new life now begun. First she has 2 daughters, then she has a son. She teaches and loves them from the start with all her heart. She knows joy, she knows tragedy. She keeps her faith in God and family. She grieves when her daughter dies. Again she cries. She knows this life is just a test. Most of all she knows she's blessed. And now Jenny, she's dancing once again. At her 50th anniversary with her husband and their friends. They dance a little slower than they did back then. But Jenny's dancing once again. Future has become the past. Husband gone, she sells the house at last. Moves north, closer to her son. Dancing's done. From a cane to a walker to a chair. Still full of life, she sees wonder everywhere. Loving friends, happy memories, that's what she sees. Jenny counts them all again. All the decades 1 through 10. Now Jenny, she's lying in her bed. I ask her what she'd rather do instead. She says, if I had the chance, I'd like today. I take her hands, we move with grace. Her arms sway gently while her body stays in place. She smiles when we are done, says that was fun. Jenny closes her eyes and falls asleep. And I pray the Lord her soul to keep. Slower, ever slower she breathes. Then Jenny leaves. Yet her story isn't done. In a way it's just begun. Because Jenny is dancing once again. She's dancing with the angels on the head of their pin. She's dancing with her family. She's dancing with her friends. The dance that never ends. Jenny's dancing once again. So again, I want to first of all thank all of you who came out this evening. A beautiful day. Wasn't it a beautiful day? And you capped it off here at Nobel Coffee Roasters with Barry Edelman and Music for Humanity and David Schiff. And thank you, David, for letting me come up and play a couple of songs with you. I mean, see, that's what, you know, that's like the level of musicians that we get to enjoy. You never meet somebody before, and you're like, hey, let's play this together. And you can do it. Because we have like a common bond of some kind. Well, we know the chords. Hey, do you know the words to this one? Yeah, yeah. All right, so, and so thank you, Barry, for inviting me again. And Music for Humanity is a great thing. So please support them. And but also, I have recordings too, if you'd like some of that. And if not, a business card, my website. You can find out where I'm playing next. Tomorrow, I'm taking a break, but next Sunday, if you happen to be on the other side of the river, if you want to come to the Town Crier in Beacon, will be my CD release concert. Yeah. All the songs from the new CD, plus my greatest hits. With my my sleight of hand trio, with Roy Notaro on drums and Steve Restaino on bass. So you get to hear a band version of these things.
What time?
It's at 6:30 p.m. at the Town Crier. And it should be quite an event. We practiced. I taught them. I beat all these songs into their heads. I said, you will learn. And they're rockers, so they want to make everything loud. I said, no, quiet. Quiet, it's acoustic. And they scowl at me, but they listen. So we're going to leave you with this last thing, which I usually like to leave you with, which is a nice little thing, again, that my father used to say. When I would walk, I walked all over the place. City of Yonkers, you know, big place. You got to walk or you got to take the bus. And I would usually spend my bus fare, so I walked. And he would say, son, you ever get tired of walking? I would say, yeah, Pop. Thinking he would give me a ride. And he would say, well, if you get tired of walking, run. And he'd laugh. I think I have his sense of humor, I think. Anyway, I thought, well, maybe what he really means is, if something's hard to do, don't give up. Just try even harder. He would laugh and say, nah, I was just making fun of you. But that's a good enough story for me anyway. So I came up with this song in his honor. like to go out walking. I go walking every day. When I get tired of walking, oh, I know a better way. I remember what my daddy said when he told me, son, if you're tired of walking, you got to run. He did not tell me to sit down and rest my weary feet. He did not say stick out your thumb and hit you right on down the street. No, he knew I had a job to do and that I was far from done. So he told me if you're tired of walking, you got to run. If you're tired of walking, you got to run. If you're tired of walking, your journey's just begun. Well, the road, it may be long, but you're not the only one. So if you're tired of walking, you got to run. Now trouble comes in many forms, yes, I've had my share. But you don't go looking for trouble when there ain't no trouble there. And when those clouds begin to roll on in and they cover up the sun, and you're tired of walking, you got to run. If you're tired of walking, you got to run. If you're tired of walking and your journey's just begun, oh, the road it may be long, but you're not the only one. So if you're tired of walking, you got to run. Standing still, that's no big thrill. You just get nowhere fast. And if you fall behind, you're gonna find that you just might end up last. So you see the trick is to be quick, and that's how the race is won. And if you're tired of walking, you got to run. If you're tired of walking, you got to run. If you're tired of walking, and your journey's just begun, your road it may be long, but it's not the only one. So if you're tired of walking, you got to run. I know what you're thinking. I can read your minds. Okay, smart guy. We're tired of walking, we run. But riddle me this. What do we do if we get tired of running? Allow me to demonstrate. If you're tired of walking, you got to run. If you're tired of walking, your journey's just begun. And if you're already running and it's starting to get dark, if you're tired of walking and running, then play the harp. Thank you, Barry.